Welcome, Wapham Crews, guys, gals, ghouls, friends, fiends, foes, whoever else may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, July 23rd, Monday, July 24th for those of you across the pond and beyond. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, and welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and we are broadcasting live from the Mile High Clubhouse tonight. I'm so glad you could join us. If you're listening to us live right now, you may be listening to us on KPNL Radio, which you can find at KPNL Radio at kpnl-bb.com. You may also find us on eTalk Radio, which you can find at etalk.tv/radio. We are also live on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube under We Are Paradox Media. If you want to listen to us in your free time, whether you're working it or working out, please tune in once more under We Are Paradox Media at Spreaker, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podcast Chaser, and Podvine. If you don't mind, mosey on over to our YouTube channel, which you can find under We Are Paradox Media. Please give us a like on any video that you've watched or listened to, and please feel free to subscribe. Give that bell a little tickle, that way next time we have a show come up, you will be made privy to it. So unfortunately, our guest for this evening could not make it. His mom got sick and was running a high temp, and he had to take her to the hospital. So we're going to be rescheduling that. So tonight I wanted to try something a little different. So we are going to be doing story time, but I also had a few videos that I have sent to myself in the past. Unfortunately, some of them have been taken down either by the poster or it could be perhaps by YouTube because of violations of community standards. But we do have some good ones, so let's see how this works. So I'm going to present. I'll have one pulled up, and I don't know, it cracks me up. So AI, I'm not a big fan, but this is AI-generated voice of Joe Biden, and, I'm not really into politics, but I thought this was funny as hell. So let's see. Share screen. Let me go on over here. It says to use 2 monitors, but you're right.
Oh, I'm serious. Look at these fucking shit birds. We can't let them back in, smearing shit on the walls of democracy. Now, hey, I know I'm old as fuck. I get it, America. I'm tired. I make Al Pacino look like Timothy fucking Chalamet. I know I wasn't your first choice in 2020. Hell, I wasn't my first choice. You think I like getting a syringe of B12 plunged in my ass every morning just to stay alert enough to run this country? Shit, no. But these are the cards we're dealt, Jack. I'm gonna be so hopped up on goofballs and cocaine, I'm gonna make Don Jr. look normal. Reality is I can't step down and let who? Kamala run? Have you seen her as Veep? Get the fuck out of here. My priorities in 2024. Number one is I'm not the guy who sent a violent clown brigade to kill Nancy Pelosi. So all I can say is a vote for me is a vote for 4 more years of holding fascism at bay. Or as long as this ticker keeps pumping a minimal amount of blood for consciousness. And if you can't tell this is an AI-generated voice, then lots of luck in your senior year. Whatever the fuck.
It's hilarious. I found that to be very, very funny. All right, here's the next one. It's not showing up. Let me see. Maybe I just press play on it. So this is one that I've been telling you guys about that I find very intriguing. I read about this a long time ago. And, at first this place was discovered by certain people that were roaming about the Grand Canyon. But now they have it blocked off once more, and people are all up in there. Let's see, how does this work? There's paleontologists, there's people who check this stuff out, and it's pretty intriguing.
Grand Canyon was, wait, Egyptian?
Yeah, the Smithsonian published some stuff in 1909,
wow.
I guess, that where all this came from. There was an article that got written, and I don't know how much of it they proved or was proven or was just newspaper.
Hold on to your hats, because we are diving headfirst into a mind-blowing discovery that could rewrite history as we know it. Be ready to embark on an exciting journey as we explore the ancient wonders hidden within the majestic Grand Canyon. For centuries, many sources have said that Christopher Columbus was the first explorer to set foot on the American continent in 1492. But what if I told you that the ancient Egyptians might have beaten him to it? That's right, my friends, brace yourselves for the jaw-dropping tale of the ancient Egyptian presence at the Grand Canyon. Now you might ask, wait, ancient Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, are you kidding me? Well, calm your nerves, stay with me and watch us unravel a captivating story that will make you question everything you thought you knew about history. And Joe Rogan, a popular podcaster, and his guest are a part of this exciting discovery.
What's up?
The thing I found about the Egyptians in Ohio was actually from a paper that was written. It's postulating it. I guess they took a lot of the evidence that they had been finding and saying this shows that there might have actually been Egyptians there.
As the team of explorers ventured deep into the rugged depths of the Grand Canyon, their excitement grew palpable. Little did they know that their expedition would soon lead them on an extraordinary journey through time and across continents. With each careful step, they revealed the mysteries hidden within its ancient embrace, breathing new life into the annals of human history. After years of meticulous planning and research, the team finally identified a series of abnormal geological formations that hinted at the presence of hidden chambers. Armed with cutting-edge technology and an insatiable curiosity, they began their painstaking excavation. Hours became days, days became weeks as they carefully removed layers of sediment and uncovered the secrets that lay dormant for centuries. And then it happened. A hidden entrance concealed by time emerged before their eyes. With bated breath, they stepped into the enigmatic abyss, their headlamps casting eerie shadows on the walls that held the secrets of a bygone era. As the beams of their lights danced across the walls, their eyes widened in astonishment. The air was thick with anticipation, for they did not prepare for the staggering sight that awaited them. So many relics that spoke of a distant and unexpected connection between the Grand Canyon and the ancient land of Egypt filled the chamber. The first...
It's pretty intriguing because this reminds me a lot of the Anasazi Pueblos, ancient Puebloan ruins. So it makes me wonder, is there something hidden at Mesa Verde that has not yet been discovered?
Artifact to capture their attention was a well-preserved ancient pottery adorned with intricate patterns and symbols. Its craftsmanship mirrored that of ancient Egyptian pottery, leaving no doubt about its origin. The team carefully gathered these fragments, their fingers trembling with reverence as they realized the magnitude of their discovery. But it was the discovery of hieroglyphs etched into the walls that sent shivers down their spines. The walls had a tapestry of symbols meticulously carved and preserved over time. Scenes of majestic pharaohs, sacred rituals, and mythical creatures unfolded before their eyes, as if transporting them to the banks of the Nile itself. A team of dedicated linguists and Egyptologists came to unravel the cryptic messages left behind by an ancient civilization that defied the boundaries of time and space. Their expertise was crucial in deciphering the enigmatic hieroglyphs as they painstakingly pieced together the narrative hidden within its depths. A breathtaking tale of exploration, adventure, and cultural exchange emerged. The inscription spoke of a group of courageous Egyptian seafarers who embarked on a perilous journey across vast oceans, guided by the stars and driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and prosperity. These intrepid explorers, it seemed, had ventured far beyond the known world of their time, defying convention and leaving an indelible mark on the distant shores of the Americas. The implications of this discovery were staggering. It challenged the prevailing narrative of isolated ancient civilizations, pointing to a vast global trade network and cultural exchange that connected diverse peoples in ways unimaginable until now. The Grand...
And I also want to say I have no rights to this video. I'm just sharing this with my friends.
Canyon is a geological wonder and a portal to a world where boundaries are blurred. It is where ancient cultures converged. With each artifact and inscription uncovered, the team became excited, their imaginations ignited by the vast possibilities. They wondered if this newfound connection between ancient Egypt and the Grand Canyon was merely the tip of the iceberg, hinting at even deeper layers of interconnectedness between civilizations. This extraordinary revelation forced historians and archaeologists to reconsider their understanding of human history. It shattered the notion of isolated civilizations, challenging the boundaries of what was previously deemed possible. The ancient Egyptians, known for their magnificent pyramids and rich culture, were now woven into the intricate tapestry of the Americas, forever altering the narrative of our shared past. Their groundbreaking findings sent shockwaves through the scientific community and ignited public imagination. It sparked a renewed sense of wonder and curiosity, driving explorers and researchers to venture into uncharted territories, looking further for more revelations. The world watched with bated breath as the Grand Canyon, once thought of as a geological marvel, transformed into a gateway to a hidden world of ancient secrets. As the expedition concluded and the explorers emerged from the depths of the Grand Canyon, they carried with them artifacts and knowledge. They also brought home a profound sense of awe and humility. They had stood on the precipice of a paradigm-shifting discovery, forever altering our understanding of human civilization. This exciting discovery rewrote the story of the ancient Egyptians, and the echoes of their legacy now reverberated across the vast expanse of time. The presence of ancient Egypt at the Grand Canyon had indeed changed everything. It reminded us that beneath the layers of sand and stone lie stories waiting for someone to unearth them, tales that can reshape our perception of who we are and where we come from. The Grand Canyon proved to be a breathtaking natural wonder and a living testament to the intertwined tapestry of human history. And as scientists continue to delve into its depths, who knows what other secrets it may yet unveil, inspiring generations to come with its timeless allure. And as
I had to stop it there. A few scenes ago, there's shapes in the Grand Canyon, and some people think there may perhaps even be a pyramid there that has kind of gone to shambles because, of course, they're going to be using red rock instead of granite or whatever they used in Egypt. But they're saying the same thing about Antarctica, that they're thinking there's a pyramid up there as well.
As the excavation efforts continued, an astonishing find emerged, a series of interconnected tombs nestled deep within the rocky recesses of the canyon. The tombs, adorned with intricate carvings and adorned sarcophagi, held the remains of ancient Egyptian nobles and their precious belongings. It was as if the Grand Canyon had transformed into an unexpected outpost of the Nile Valley, where the secrets of a distant land entwined themselves with the untamed wilderness of North America. The archaeologists and forensic experts worked tirelessly to study the contents of the tombs. The richly decorated sarcophagi revealed a meticulous preservation of the deceased, showcasing the ancient Egyptians' deep reverence for the afterlife. Intriguing artifacts such as amulets, jewelry, and even fragments of papyrus scrolls provided glimpses into the daily lives and spiritual beliefs of these individuals who found themselves so far from home. The scrolls, painstakingly restored by a team of dedicated specialists, opened a gateway to a forgotten era. They documented the astonishing tale of a group of courageous Egyptian explorers who, driven by a hunger for knowledge and adventure, adventured across treacherous seas to reach lands beyond the horizon. Their journey, fraught with danger and uncertainty, led them to the rugged beauty of the Grand Canyon, where they sought solace and a new beginning. The scrolls tell of cultural exchanges, shared knowledge, and an unexpected harmony between the ancient Egyptians and the indigenous peoples of the Americas. These ancient seafarers, it seemed, had not only left behind a physical legacy, but also imparted their wisdom and customs to the native tribes, forever altering the tapestry of their culture. And as the world observed the magnitude of these discoveries, questions arose about the lasting impact of this ancient encounter. How had the presence of the Egyptians influenced the development of the indigenous civilizations? What knowledge did it share? These questions ignited a global conversation about the interconnectedness of human history, highlighting the rich tapestry of cultural exchange which many people overlooked for centuries. As the discoveries of the Grand Canyon continued unfolding, they reminded us that pursuing knowledge knows no bounds. The ancient Egyptians journeyed across the seas and expanded the horizons of human possibility. Their presence at the Grand Canyon opened a portal to the mysteries of the past, redefining our understanding of history and forever changing how we perceive our shared heritage. The echoes of ancient Egypt reverberated through the canyons, carrying whispers of a forgotten time and the promise of further revelations. The Grand Canyon had become a pilgrimage site for seekers of truth, a testament to the enduring power of exploration and the unending capacity of humanity to uncover the wonders of our world. In the wake of the extraordinary discovery of the Grand Canyon, the world stood in awe on the precipice of unraveling an enigma that defied all previous understanding. The presence of ancient Egypt in this remote corner of North America sent shockwaves through the scientific community and ignited the imagination of the masses. It was as if a forgotten chapter of history had resurfaced, challenging everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. Watch this clip of Joe Rogan and his guest pointing to a document that places the Egyptians in Ohio.
There.
That's from 1937?
That's when the guy was, I think, born. This is 40 years ago.
Oh,
so
wow.
That amulet was brass, apparently, and it was found near Cincinnati. And where I actually think that it might have been trade routes, because there was some, stones that have been found in various parts of the world that are from specifically Ohio, because it's like a rainbow shale that was used in like arrowheads and stuff a long, long time ago. Like that area was used to make weapons, like the first, 12,000 years ago when the first people were kind of in North America.
As the excavation efforts delved deeper into the intricate network of tombs, a sense of reverence permeated the air. The tombs, meticulously carved into the canyon walls, spoke of a civilization far from its home, yet deeply rooted in its traditions. Hieroglyphs adorned the walls, narrating tales of daring expeditions, cultural exchange, and a quest for knowledge beyond geographical boundaries. Archaeologists and Egyptologists working side by side painstakingly pieced together the fragments of this narrative. They unearthed evidence of an ancient seafaring civilization driven by an insatiable curiosity and an unsuppressible spirit of adventure. The scrolls and artifacts revealed a tale of explorers who dared to defy the limitations of their time, navigating treacherous waters to reach distant lands. These bold travelers, guided by their determination, had embarked on a perilous journey across vast oceans, crossing the Atlantic to the New World. And the Grand Canyon, with its majestic splendor and hidden depths, had become their sanctuary, a place of refuge, a haven of knowledge, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. But how had these ancient Egyptians managed such a feat? How had they managed uncharted waters and traversed unknown territories? The answers remained elusive, buried beneath layers of time and mystery. Yet as the world looked upon the Grand Canyon, it became evident that this extraordinary convergence of cultures had left an indelible mark on ancient Egypt and the civilizations of the Americas. The echoes of the ancient Egyptians resonated through the canyons, whispering secrets of forgotten alliances, shared wisdom, and the exchange of knowledge. It seemed that the canyon had acted as a meeting place. It was a crossroads where different cultures converged, shaping the fabric of human civilization. It did this in ways previously unimaginable. And unbeknownst to many, there is a section of the Grand Canyon that harbors an astonishing secret, an off-limits area teeming with ancient artifacts that point to an Egyptian presence in this unlikely location. It is a secret operation that has shrouded this mind-bending discovery in secrecy, leaving the general populace blissfully unaware of its existence. The very air above this extraordinary site is declared restricted airspace, veiling it in an aura of mystique and intrigue. And on the ground, the surrounding area bristles with danger, rendering it illegal and treacherous to navigate. Official reports from renowned institutions like the Smithsonian have been censored, modified, nullified, or retracted, further fueling the aura of conspiracy and enigma. Yet, despite the secrecy and the perils that lie in wait, intrepid souls have relentlessly pursued the truth, braving arrests and even paying the ultimate price to reach these sacred sites. One such enigmatic location bears the name of Kincaid's Cave, an underground labyrinth that beckons with its tantalizing mysteries. G. Kincaid, the cave's intrepid pioneer, made history when he first set foot in its fathomless depths. A former Marine-turned-archaeologist, Kincaid joined forces with S.A. Jordan under the auspices of the Smithsonian Institute. Tasked with investigating reports from John Wesley Powell, these audacious explorers embarked on a daring expedition into the very heart of the Grand Canyon. Imagine the awe that overcame them as they ventured deeper into the cave's recesses, unraveling its secrets one ancient layer at a time. Archaeologists estimate that this artificial cavern dates back a staggering 3,000 years, bearing witness to a bygone era when this subterranean metropolis flourished. At over 500 feet, the cavern boasts a network of cross-tunnels leading to vast chambers reminiscent of the grandeur of ancient Egypt's tunnel cities. Astoundingly, this cave was once situated 400 feet above the majestic Colorado River. However, the relentless forces of nature have eroded the landscape, causing the river to carve its way 300 feet lower since its construction. Such is the unyielding passage of time reshaping the bedrock that cradles these archaeological wonders. And prepare to have your senses overwhelmed, for the relics discovered within Kincaid's Cave transcend mere fascination. Among the treasures unearthed lies an artifact of pure gold, a mesmerizing testament to the Egyptian king Kian. Clutched in its golden hands are lotus flowers unmistakably native to the fertile land of Egypt. This remarkable find was discovered in the cave's first cross-tunnel, a location mirroring the shrines found in Egypt's iconic Valley of the Kings. Could it be that Kian, a descendant of the enigmatic King Zaphnath mentioned in biblical lore as possibly being Joseph, left his mark within the hallowed chambers of the Grand Canyon? But the astonishing revelations do not end there. Deep within the interconnected tunnel city, a golden tablet emerged from the shadows, revealing itself as a veritable time capsule of history. Serving as a chronicle of epic proportions, it unveiled the tale of King Zaphnath's fabled arrival in the mythical land of Aztlan, along with gripping accounts of his descendant King Kian venturing into the very heart of the Grand Canyon. Imagine the weight of history pressing upon your shoulders as you stand on the precipice of this paradigm-shifting discovery. The ancient echoes of Egypt reverberate through the canyons, rewriting the very foundations of our understanding. Many people have revered the Grand Canyon for its breathtaking natural beauty, but now it stands as a testament to the remarkable intersections of human civilizations across time and space. Joe Rogan and his guest point to an article on the Smithsonian Institute.
Wait, Egyptian?
Yeah, the Smithsonian published some stuff in 1909,
wow.
I guess, that where all this came from. There was an article that got written, and I don't know how much of it they proved or was proven or was just newspaper. It's like bait back in the day.
Look at this. Even more amazing, the artifact didn't match up to anything on the
Look at the size of it. Like, they could fit 50,000 people inside this place. This is insane.
known record. Rather than appearing to be of Native American origin, as one might expect, the object had distinct Egyptian or Tibetan designs.
Mm-hmm. Deep within the vaults of the prestigious Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., some of the most precious relics from this fabled canyon are proudly displayed, tantalizing fragments of a forgotten past. Among them are the gleaming golden artifacts from Kincaid's Cave and the cryptic Egyptian urns from Powell's Cave, testaments to a history far more profound than we ever imagined. But what became of the other relics? Oh, the mysteries that remain. Countless artifacts disappeared, eluding the grasp of photographers and documentarians. Their fate shrouded in the veil of uncertainty, these relics hold secrets untold, waiting for a brave soul to unearth their hidden truths. The adventurous John Wesley Powell was a pioneer of exploration and archaeology. He was the one who set his sights on the Grand Canyon, fueled by an insatiable hunger for knowledge. Partnering with the Native American guide Jacob Vernon Hamblin, Powell embarked on an audacious journey that would forever alter our understanding of the canyon's past. Powell, a revered figure in the annals of American exploration, served as a trailblazer for the U.S. Department of the Interior and directed the illustrious Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institution. In 1869, with the mighty Green River as his guide, Powell ventured into the heart of the Grand Canyon, becoming the first to convey the archaeological wonders of the canyon to the U.S. government. During this momentous expedition, Powell stumbled upon the enigmatic Powell's Cave, forever etching his name in the annals of discovery. He vividly described the awe-inspiring scene. In this canyon, great numbers of man-made caves are hollowed out. As he trekked through the rugged terrain, Powell ascended a cliff's bench, tracing the footsteps of forgotten souls. The worn trail etched into the rock whispered tales of journeys long past. But it was not just the footsteps that bewitched Powell. Near the cave he encountered an astonishing sight that would forever alter the course of history. Egyptian hieroglyphics adorning the cliff walls. The air crackled with electricity as he delved further into the cavernous depths, unearthing a shrine steeped in mysticism and ancient devotion. With each passing moment, Powell's belief that the Grand Canyon held a connection to ancient Egypt solidified, his estimations daringly suggesting that upwards of 50,000 Egyptians once inhabited this sacred site. And Powell's discoveries did not end there. His intrepid team continued their explorations, their footsteps echoing through hidden tunnels that wound their way beneath the canyon's surface. These Egyptian tunnel cities, cloaked in shadow and time, bore witness to a fusion of cultures and civilizations that defied the boundaries of geography. Imagine standing in that shrine surrounded by the remnants of an ancient world, feeling the weight of history upon your shoulders. The mysteries embedded within those artifacts and hieroglyphics beckon us, urging us to unravel their cryptic messages and unlock the secrets they fiercely guard. While the relics of Kincaid's Cave and Powell's Cave offer glimpses into the marvels of the past, they are but fragments of a larger tapestry, tantalizing clues to a grander narrative. The Grand Canyon, ever enigmatic, stands as a testament to the indomitable spirit of exploration and the boundless wonders that await those who dare to venture into the unknown. And within this extraordinary quest for knowledge, geologists have boldly challenged the very fabric of the canyon's history. The age-old puzzle of its formation takes center stage as heated debates reverberate throughout the scientific community. Was it the collision of two colossal earth plates, their tectonic tango shaping the grandeur before us, or is there a more profound hidden truth waiting for us to unravel? Our journey into the depths of the Grand Canyon's history begins with the echoes of human footsteps echoing through the ages. Around 12,000 years ago, intrepid explorers traversed its vast expanse, leaving traces of their presence and igniting the flame of curiosity that burns within us. By the 16th century, daring Spanish adventurers ventured through its imposing canyons, leaving whispers of their encounters with this natural wonder. But in the mid-19th century, a true pioneer emerged, an audacious, one-armed Civil War veteran named John Wesley Powell. With a fearless spirit, he led a daring expedition down the treacherous Colorado River, defying the odds and leaving an indelible mark on history. Powell's vivid accounts of his journeys elevated the Grand Canyon to its rightful place as a national icon and testament to the marvels of the natural world. Today, the Grand Canyon is a magnet for explorers and adventure seekers alike. Drawing 6 million visitors each year, it's become the second most visited national park in the United States, eclipsed only by the accessible majesty of the Great Smoky Mountains. Visitors from around the globe converge upon its precipices, their jaws dropping in awe at the sheer immensity and kaleidoscope of colors that paint the canyon's walls. But it's not just its breathtaking size or the magnificent palette of hues that captivates the human spirit. This exciting geological history embedded within its very core electrifies the mind of scientists and enthusiasts. Over 2 billion years ago, when our planet was a cauldron of geological chaos, the Grand Canyon emerged from the dramatic collision of Earth's tectonic plates. Like an ancient battleground, rows of volcanic islands clashed and fused, forming a complex mosaic of rock layers that would one day sculpt the iconic canyons we behold today. Yet the Grand Canyon's narrative takes an unexpected turn, as if someone tore a chapter of its geological chronicle from the annals of time between approximately 1.75 billion and 1.25 billion years ago. A mysterious void looms, erasing rocks and leaving a profound enigma. Erosion, the ruthless sculptor of landscapes, had wiped away these ancient formations, leaving us with fragments of a forgotten tale. However, the story does not end there. The Grand Canyon Supergroup, a series of newly formed rock layers, emerges from the geological abyss, breathing life into the narrative once again. Sediments gracefully descended to the bottom of prehistoric seas, transforming into layers of limestone teeming with relics of ancient algae, an exquisite tapestry of life's earliest chapters etched upon the canyon's walls. But the supergroup's tale takes an unexpected twist, a revelation that shocked the scientific community. Enter Karlstrom and his team of researchers armed with cutting-edge technology and an insatiable thirst for discovery. They sought to unlock the secrets of the 60-mile formation, one of the canyon's rock layers which had long eluded precise dating. They uncovered a seismic revelation that rocked the very foundations of our understanding. The age of the 60-mile formation, once believed to be approximately 650 million years old, was now unveiled to be a mere 508 million years, a startling revelation that placed it firmly within the younger Grand Canyon supergroup. This newfound knowledge ignites a fire within Karlstrom and his colleagues, propelling them to decode the mysteries above the 60-mile formation. With the keys to the canyon's geological clock in their hands, they endeavor to unravel the speed at which flooding occurred and the rapid formation of the rock layers that grace the canyon's towering walls. As the sun sets over the ever-changing landscapes of the Grand Canyon, its geological secrets continue to emerge from the depths of time. Each discovery, every revelation, serves as a testament to our unyielding quest for knowledge and our unwavering determination to uncover the wonders beneath the surface of our world.
Right. So what do you guys think about that? Like, that to me is amazing. Hey, Jay. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty sad that our guest Stephen B. Bainey couldn't be here, sending out positive energy and prayers of healing for his mom. His mom's sick, so he had to take her to the hospital. She was running a really high fever, and she's quite up there in the years. So, family comes first. We truly believe that here. So, yes, he's awake. I'm wondering how much rain you got last night. We actually saw rain clouds coming in here to Bayfield, and we were just like, yeah, let it rain because we need it so bad. It's so brown, and the raspberry bushes, everything is just trying to dry up and go away. I'm going to share my screen again. This time, we are going to go. Let me open this up really quick. So I'm quite into the paranormal, as a lot of you may know. And, so Nick's Top 5, that's one of my favorites. So I figured we'd get into that next. But yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. I believe the discovery was first made around 1906, around that time. And then, like they were saying, Powell and this other fella, hands over their evidence, all their findings and such. And then, as they generally do, the Smithsonian kind of let it go and then quashed it. So for a long time, a lot of people didn't know about it. But now it's coming back again. They have a certain part of the Grand Canyon blocked off. And just as they were saying, airspace is also blocked off. So that's pretty intense. Hi, Kiana. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Once it pops up, I'll delete it. Delete. All right. Nuke's Top 5.
Top 10 ghosts caught on camera. Something in the sewer. Now, this next strange video was recorded for educational purposes by the Athens, Georgia Public Utilities Department. The clips were actually filmed as an educational video for kids to show children what you can and can't flush down a toilet. The footage shows a robotic camera being guided through a long sewer system. Everything appears normal until the camera approaches something very strange in the dark water. Something that almost looks like a small headless pale torso appears to be disturbed by the camera, and a creepy-looking hand seems to reach out and attempt to grab at the lens. Now, I have no idea what this is, and neither does anyone at the Athens Public Utilities Department.
Gross. What the heck is that? Is that a shite monster? I'm not sure.
They claim the footage is still under investigation.
Ew.
So for now, this eerie figure is a complete and total mystery.
No, thank you.
The Ghosts of the Queen Mary. Paranormal investigator and author Brandon Alvis, who some of you might know from the popular TV series Ghost Hunters, has dedicated many years of his life to researching and recording the paranormal. But even for Brandon, there is one investigation that stands out as particularly creepy.
I tried to get Brandon on the show in the past. I know he was really busy with another show he was doing. Hopefully he'll come on someday. Hi, Anna. Anne-Marie.
And that is the investigation of the historic RMS Queen Mary. The RMS Queen Mary sailed the North Atlantic Ocean from 1936 to 1967, serving as both a cruise ship and even an Allied troop ship during World War II. The ship has seen its fair share of tragic deaths, one of them being that of a little girl who drowned in the ship's swimming pool. Many visitors and employees claim that the ship's swimming pool area is very haunted, and some even say that they've seen the spirits of both women and children dressed in 1930s-style swimsuits. While investigating the swimming pool area, Brandon and a fellow investigator both hear something disturbing.
Come closer. No way. Do you have some that need help? To get out. Go. Yeah.
An unknown voice yells out from somewhere nearby. But that's not all that Brandon captured on the RMS Queen Mary. Now, Brandon is completely alone except for one other investigator and a security guard. The pool is empty and is no longer in use, and the area is off limits to all other guests. So what happens next is truly chilling. Did you see it?
I saw it. That was creepy AF.
Someone or something can be seen in one of the swimming pool changing stalls. The chilling figure appears to have glowing eyes as it watches the small group from the shadows. Brandon says that they did not see anything at the time of the recording. So just who or what is lurking in the dark? Let me know what you think. You can read about Brandon Alvis's spooky experiences while investigating haunted places in his new book, Elements of a Haunting. Cradle Creeper. Proud parents Kaylee and Stuart have a TikTok account dedicated to their newborn daughter, Rin May. The account usually chronicles happy experiences from the young family's life. So when this next video was posted, their viewers were shocked. Night vision cameras first capture a bizarre unexplained shadow in the upper left corner of the room. Then, what seems like a creepy little hand can be seen clawing at little Ren May's crib mattress. The newborn sleeps right through it, but Dad Stewart hears the noise and wakes up. And just as Stewart looks over at the crib, the hand quickly disappears out of sight. Parents Kaylee and Stewart are very disturbed by the incident and say that they have no idea what they captured on camera. Haunted by the...
I'm glad that's not the one I thought it was. I thought that was the one where something reaches in and grabs the little baby really violently and the baby wakes up and cries, but I'm glad it wasn't that one.
Past. Paranormal investigator Alex from the YouTube channel Hunting the Unknown is joined by his friend Tony as they set out to investigate the allegedly haunted Knowlton Church in Dorset, England. The ancient church has been left in ruins, sitting in an empty field. However, this wasn't always the case. Over 500 years ago, the church was surrounded by a thriving English village. Then, tragedy struck. In the year 1485, all of the village's inhabitants, men, women, and children, were struck down by the sickness of the bubonic plague, aka the Black Death. No one in the village survived. The old crumbling church is said to be forever haunted by their spirits. So, cut back to modern times, and in the dark of night, the two investigator team Hunting the Unknown explored the old Knowlton Church. They get a few responses from their spirit box, and their motion-activated lights are triggered a few times. But nothing too dramatic. That is, except for when they start to explore with their thermal camera. What they catch is shocking.
So guys, we're going to try something new where we've got a thermal camera attached to my phone. We're going to try and turn it on and see if we can try and see anything on camera. The balls are still going like this, so we're going to try and aim it in this direction and see what we can get. So let's get into that. I don't know if that camera... Oh, what? Oh man, what the we just caught? What? What the is that? Oh, no way. Literally just there, mate. Do it again.
Did they just catch something running away? That's pretty interesting.
It's there. Whatever it is, it's there, bro. Mate. Mate, that's a person.
Look, it's like a kid. Runs off. Over there, behind that.
Yeah.
Like here.
Over in the corner.
It runs off here. Yeah. And it goes like that. Into here. Done it?
Yeah.
What the Come on.
Wow.
A childlike figure can be seen running past Alex and then disappearing right into a solid stone wall. The investigators are shocked by their capture of what appears to be a child spirit running around in the church. So could this be the ghost of a little boy or girl who was one of the tragic victims of the plague so many centuries ago? Let me know your thoughts down below. Before we move on to the next video, if you see anything that you think should be included in the top 5, contact us at nukestop5@gmail.com. The Newburn Haunting. Sam Aldridge, his wife, and 2 young children live in a beautiful home in Newburn, North Carolina that was built in the late 1950s. Although the home is charming and spacious, Sam says that the property's history is not good. One of the previous owners passed away in the upstairs master bedroom, and the remains of 2 unidentified individuals were found buried in the backyard. Cause of death unknown. Sam and his wife have both witnessed creepy, unexplained activity in the house, and they believe their home might be haunted. Even their family dog Loki seems very disturbed by what's going on.
He has no shock collar, no shock collar at all. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and take this off just so y'all know that there's nothing there. Come on, bud. Hey, it's okay. It's okay, buddy. Settle down. I posted it. See, me and him both heard that. And see, now he's gonna fucking run and leave me up here like a douchebag. See? Straight up.
Sam says that not only does the house have an odd history, but an odd layout as well. In particular, there is a strange door upstairs that seems to lead nowhere, and has no stairs leading up to it. In a video, as Sam explains where the door is located, he captures something downright creepy.
You can kind of see just how high up that door actually is if you're on the bottom floor. Yeah, you're looking at 10 plus 8, so you're looking at least 18 feet from your feet coming down. Why the f***?
A strange shadow figure can be seen, and two different voices can be heard seemingly speaking to Sam.
If you're on the bottom floor, bottom floor, bottom floor. Why the f***?
Sam has no idea what he just captured and simply explains that the area behind the door is attic storage space. So, one night Sam begins to hear strange sounds throughout his house. He hits record on his phone and goes to investigate. And that's when he sees something that shocks him to his core.
Something's definitely trying to get his attention.
Holy.
What looks like creepy, glowing, wide-set eyes seem to appear out of the darkness, peering at Sam as he stares back in terror. Whatever it is then just seems to disappear. And that's not all that Sam has captured inside his haunted home. The creepy activity even starts to occur in the middle of the day. A loud sound startles Sam, and when he turns around, a white translucent figure appears to push a rocking horse, causing it to rock slowly back and forth. Now, with all this collected and highly disturbing footage, of course Sam's TikTok following is undecided on whether to believe his story or just write it off as another elaborate TikTok hoax. So is it real supernatural activity, or just some very good editing? As always, I leave that up to you to decide.
I don't know, I'm thinking burn it. No, put it up for sale immediately. Move somewhere else. Pretty creepy, especially those wide set eyes staring back at him. Creepy.
The Village of Shadows. Japanese paranormal YouTuber Takachi Camera travels to a creepy abandoned village somewhere in the mountains of Japan. Over the years, many curious visitors to the old deserted village have claimed to experience terrifying paranormal activity. So the YouTuber decides to see for himself if the ghost stories are true. Takachi goes inside one of the few remaining homes in the village to start his investigation. But no sooner than he gets all of his camera equipment set up, he starts to hear strange footsteps just outside the building.
囲まれてるこれ。どうなんの？ちょっと待って、静か。静か。ちょっと待って。気配消して。完全に気配消す。ほら。来てる。マジ。うせろ。どういう状況
？Takuchi watches in horror as someone seems to be walking around his equipment just outside the abandoned home. Fearing the worst, Takuchi believes that there might be squatters or other people roaming around the abandoned village. He decides that the situation is just too unsafe and decides to leave. Now, as if that wasn't creepy enough, Takuchi has no idea that this isn't the only spooky event that he recorded that night. Later, he's checking back over his footage, and he notices that as he was recording his video intro, he caught something absolutely chilling.
ちょっと待って。いや、ちょっと待って。足音めっちゃ聞こえるって。嘘やろ？ちょっと待って。いや、あかん。そう。皆様お久しぶりでございます。今日はですね、とある廃村に来ているんですけれども、僕の動画を見ていただいている方の中には幽霊の存在を信じてない方も多いかと思います。僕もですね、今までいろんな心霊スポットに行ってとても危険な目に遭ってきました。ですが幽霊の存在を 100% 信じてるわけではありません。なので今日もですね、いろんな取れ高アイテムを持ってきましたので、それを使って幽霊の存在を証明していきたいと思います。来てるな。
Takuchi is completely unaware that just behind him, a bizarre shadow-like figure is slowly approaching. So could it be that the paranormal YouTuber captured one of the spirits that previous visitors claimed to have seen? Or just what is this? Let me know what you think.
Creeper for sure. Run, dude, run.
Afraid of the dark. The following footage was shared to Reddit by a concerned father who believes that his family might be dealing with an evil presence inside their home. He says that they've all seen and heard things in their house that they can't explain. So, late one night, the static camera in their kitchen captures this eerie sound. This bizarre high-pitched sound was heard at 3:25 in the morning. Now, Reddit users are quick to write it off as either cars outside or the screeching of old plumbing. But the man who posted the video is not so convinced. Later, the worried father shares another video captured by his security camera. In the video, his daughter seems to get the scare of a lifetime.
It's one thing to mess with me, but quite another to mess with my kids.
The young girl is woken up when her radio suddenly turns on. The girl then claims that she saw a shadowy figure just standing in her room. She lets out a piercing scream as she jumps from her bed and runs to her parents' bedroom. Her parents rush to her room to check it out, but they don't find anything. So what do you think is going on here? Is this just a child's overactive imagination or a nightmare? Or could the girl actually have seen a scary shadow figure standing in her bedroom? Either way, I believe that one thing is certain, and that is that her terrified reaction is in no way fake or staged. But you decide. The never-ending nightmare. These next creepy videos were recorded by Kathy Gallinger from the YouTube channel Paranormal Nightmares. I originally featured Kathy years ago after she began to experience unexplained activity in her home in Canada.
Okay guys, so I came in my room, heard a noise, in the closet again. Closet's open, the dog hasn't left. Let's see what you hear. What the
Now, the activity has begun to affect not only her cute little dog Lucy, but also her cats Salem and Stormy as well. Stormy violently hisses at something that we can't see, and then jumps onto the kitchen counter to hide. Now, maybe this footage can simply be explained away as a cat just being weird. But this next clip is a lot harder to explain, and this time it's Kathy's other cat, Salem, that is caught in a, quote, paranormal nightmare. Salem appears to be spooked and is keeping a close eye on an old doll. Then an ominous dark cloud of smoke appears out of thin air, frightening the cat and sending it dashing away in fear. Kathy believes that her collection of antique dolls might have spirits attached to them. She thinks that these spirits might be causing the terrifying activity in her home. But what do you think? I highly recommend checking out Kathy's YouTube channel, Paranormal Nightmares, where she shares the many captures of supernatural activity in her home, lurking outside. TikTok user Bruno5M claims that he and his family often see strange things around their farm in Tucumán, Argentina, including the mysterious figure of a young girl dressed all in black, roaming the countryside. One night, without the family knowing, Bruno's young sister sees something outside her window, moving around in the dark. Inexplicably, she sneaks out to record all on her own. And needless to say, it did not go well.
Hola chicos, estoy grabando este video porque mi papá y mi mamá se fueron a comprar una cosa en el almacén y mi hermano Seban está en la pieza, pero yo sentirlo alojado por acá. No sé qué está pasando, pero quiero tratar de grabar. ¡Ah! Miren eso.
The girl's brother says that he and his family are shocked that the young girl went outside to film on her own. He says that she is doing fine, but is still a bit shaken up by the strange encounter to this day. So what do you think this creepy figure with glowing eyes could be? paranormal or not, I leave it to you to decide. Run. YouTube user Adam Lowen and 2 of his friends are exploring an allegedly haunted house in Portland, Oregon. He says that he has heard strange, unexplained noises there in the middle of the night and has even seen things moving around in the dark. They plan to record proof of what Adam believes to be paranormal phenomenon. It did not go well.
Turn on your flashlight. Okay.
No, but seriously, if you die, I have to go home, and that's not very fun.
No, that's hilarious.
They locked it. What the f***?
Are you so
It's not locked, dude. Check it out.
You think this is scary? I'm the one who has to walk back by myself.
Say that again.
Dude, somebody's told to live down here.
Alright, wait. We're okay. Over here. What are you doing? Is it on? Yeah, what's going on? Alright. We have to go. Come on. Dude, I'm not going in. I'm not going. You're freaking out. Nicole, I think you should go. Go. We should get out of there. Dude, there's spider webs. You know what? Alright, let's do it. Let's leave. Just afraid of spiders. Dude, come on. What? Alright, I'll go. Alright, let me get some footing here. It's kind of hard.
Dude, just go. Hurry up.
You go.
Dude! What the f***? What was it? Go get it, go!
A white shapeless apparition scares the out of them as it screeches out of a doorway, and the 3 friends run out of the house in abject terror. Now, this original video was uploaded way back in 2008, but to this day, Adam says that he has no explanation for what happened that night. Adam's never posted another paranormal video on his channel. He says that since that night, he has stayed away from the paranormal and has just dedicated his channel to his love for music and video games. So is it real? Or is it all just a 14-year-old elaborate hoax? I leave it up to you to decide. Thanks for watching my post-schedule.
So yeah, that last scene reminded me of like a scene off of Scooby-Doo where they go to run, but they're kind of like in the air for a little bit, and then they finally get to run. But yeah, well, that's pretty creepy. Thanks, Truzito. Thanks for the support. For those of you out there that do not know, Stephen B. Ubaney, he had to cancel this evening because his mom was running a really high temp and he had to take her to the hospital. So thank you for the support. Please send positive energy their direction. But on that note, we do have to go to our first music break. In this break, we have Miss Mia Savage with her band Antidote for Savages. She's kind of like a little Trent Reznor herself, as she does all of this on her own. She's going to be singing Your Skeleton, Our New Reality, Let Me Be Your Home, and Lemurian Crypto. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
that he brings anymore. You're mine. You're mine. Tonight. You're mine. You're mine. You're mine. Take me to your leader or leave me alone. Somebody please take me home. Rest of time.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and I'm grateful to spend the time with you this evening. As I've said before, our guest has had to cancel because his mom got sick. She got a really high temperature, and he had to take her to the hospital. So we did video time for the first hour, and we covered an AI Joe Biden video. That was pretty funny, I must say so myself. And then, the mysteries of the Grand Canyon, as far as, they used to think that it was Tibetan originally when they discovered it. I believe it was 1906, but it was published by the Smithsonian in 1909. So we partook of that video and then ended with Nuke's Top 5, one of my faves. I know he's been going through a lot with family health as well, so he's not able to get on like he used to. Yes, it's story time, Truzado! So tonight, we are still partaking in this book. The World's 100 Greatest Mysteries. Strange Secrets of the Past Revealed. So, the next chapter in this book If this is dying, it ain't so bad. Let me turn this down. Those are my headphones. On a clear, cold night in the spring of 1944, British Royal Air Force Sergeant Nicholas Alcamaide climbed into the tiny gunner bubble at the rear of the Lancaster bomber and settled back for the long, dangerous flight to Berlin. He was nervous since this was his 13th bombing raid over Germany. As he hunkered down behind the pair of Browning machine guns, he couldn't help thinking that this was the loneliest, most dangerous job in bomber command. With any luck, the mission would be over in a few hours. Then it was back to England, where the 21-year-old airman was looking forward to spending a much-needed leave with his girlfriend Pearl. Everything was fine until a German Junker 88 aircraft raced up to meet them over Frankfurt. There was a loud explosion followed by a blinding flash, then screams from the front of the plane. The Lancaster was on fire and going down. "Bail out! Bail out!" the captain shouted. But the young flight sergeant couldn't bail out. His parachute, which was stowed outside the gunner's turret in the fuselage, was in flaming shreds. My stomach seemed to drop out of my body when I realized my parachute was useless, Sergeant Alcamaide recalled. His choices were clear: stay inside the plane and die, or jump and take his chances on surviving a fall of more than 18,000 feet. You can't even push me off a rock that's 50 feet high, so get on you, Sergeant. Holy shnikes. It was perfectly quiet and cool, like resting on a cloud, he recalled. It was as though I was lowered onto a super soft mattress. There was no sensation of falling. I thought, well, if this is dying, it ain't so bad. Indeed, he fell so peacefully that he was able to calculate that from 18,000 feet, it would take him 90 seconds to reach the ground. Then he blacked out, probably from lack of oxygen and racing heart. 3 hours later, Sergeant Alcamaide awoke. Staring up at the stars, he wondered what he was doing still alive. It was a miracle, he said. I was in one piece, hardly hurt, in fact. Somehow trees had broken his fall. 18 inches of fresh fallen snow made a final cushion that saved his life. The only damage were a couple of cuts on his face and a badly twisted right knee. A few minutes later, German soldiers arrived and took him to a hospital. There he tried to explain what had happened, but nobody believed him. They thought I was a spy who parachuted in, he said. They couldn't believe that someone could fall from a plane without a parachute and survive. The news reached the hospital that Lancaster had crashed nearby during the night. When investigators sifting through the ruins of the downed bomber found items in the gunner bubble that belonged to the young airman, including the remains of his shredded parachute, they were convinced that he was telling the truth. Sergeant Alcamaide survived his 13th bombing mission and continued to live a charmed life, working in a chemical facility. Once a steel girder fell on him. Hauled out for dead, he walked away with a bruised scalp. He narrowly escaped death several years later when he was drenched with sulfuric acid. He also survived an electric shock that threw him into a hole, where he lay breathing chlorine gas for 15 minutes. His luck finally ran out in 1988 when he died of a heart attack at the age of 65. I don't know if I would have the guts to jump out of a plane without a parachute, 18,000 feet. I think I'd wait till I got a little closer to the ground, but he survived, so I guess he made the right decision. And this one is a whole new chapter called Spectral Incursions. Angels in Blue and Gray. The American Civil War was a long and bloody ordeal with incredible heroism on both sides, North and South. Nowhere was that gallantry and devotion to cause given a greater test than at Gettysburg, a quiet little community on the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, where more than 30,000 men perished in 2 days of bloody fighting. The tragic loss of so many lives in such a short time soon gave rise to stories that the battlefield was haunted by spirits of the slain soldiers. Visitors and planters frequently reported seeing ghostly soldiers in blue and gray marching across the field or charging into battle, sometimes shouting the rebel yell. Late one night in October 1966, a group of Union reenactors camped near Devil's Den, site of one of the bloodiest battles of the campaign, were awakened by strange music floating through the dark woods. Thinking another group of reenactors was approaching, they got up to investigate. No one was there, only the sound of drums and fifes drawing closer in the dark. I tell you, a chill went down my spine as the music continued to move towards us, recalled John Rochot, a Union reenactor from Pennsylvania who recognized the Civil War tune. The music seemed to be coming right out of the air. Next day, as they marched to a nearby hill called Little Round Top, the Union boys were in for another spectral shock. Several said they noticed a gray luminescent mist, possessing a vaguely human form, gliding among the trees towards the hill's stony summit. It wasn't ground fog, I can tell you that. Hey, Layla. And it wasn't ground fog, Rochot said. The shape was over 5 feet tall and about a foot wide and had a sort of human shape. I'd never seen a ghost before, but I knew I was looking at one now. Some men who saw the ghost believes the phantom might have been the spirit of a Union soldier from the 20th Maine, a regiment that courageously defended the hill. Others speculated it might have been the ghost of a Confederate soldier. Rochot and his comrades are among thousands who are convinced the battlefield is haunted. In fact, say some paranormal researchers, the Civil War town and surrounding battleground is the most haunted place in America, with a long list of ghost sightings and poltergeist activity. Spectral phenomenon associated with the Civil War had been reported at other battlefields, towns, encampments, and hospitals as well. One of the most famous reportedly took place in October 1863 near Lewisburg, Virginia, in rural Greenbrier County. It was the height of the war, and the South was still reeling from bloody defeats at Vicksburg and Gettysburg. Confederacy was demoralized, and many leaders thought that only a miracle could save them now. Then it happened. At about 3 p.m., while battles raged all around the once tranquil valley, a mysterious army of phantom soldiers suddenly appeared in the sky, marching in a westerly direction. Hundreds of eyewitnesses supposedly watched the eerie procession as it continued across the hazy blue sky, finally vanished in a puff of green-tinged smoke beyond the low line of the hills. Moses Dwyer, a local planter, was sitting on his front porch when he saw them, thousands upon thousands of strange aerial beings floating into view. They were traveling in the same direction, Dwyer said in one interview. They were marching double quick, some 30 or 40 men in depth, as they crossed the valley and ascended the almost insurmountable hills opposite. Dwyer and other thunderstruck observers said the eerie army of cloud-born marchers seemed to stop as if carrying a heavy load up a steep mountain. Another witness noted the men were of great variety in size. Some were extremely large, while others were very small in stature. As they marched, their arms, heads, and legs could be seen distinctly moving. They observed military discipline with no stragglers breaking ranks. Some witnesses claimed that a multitude of other objects also appeared to be etched in light blue glow. All of the soldiers wore a uniform outfit, commented another stunned witness. White shirts with white pants. That's pretty awesome. Although most observers described the marchers as militaristic, one gave the following account. They were not armed with guns, swords, or anything that would give the indication of men marching off to war. They continued through the valley, over a steep road, up the hills, and finally, in approximately an hour, disappeared from sight. News of the apparition traveled fast. Newspaper reporters, artists, and photographers came from all over to interview witnesses. The sites in the Greenbrier County coincided with several similar but less spectacular visions in nearby counties. 2 weeks later, on October 14th, a remarkably similar vision was observed by Confederate pickets at nearby Runger's Mill. A number of locals confirmed this second spectacle, claiming that it took more than an hour. It says tasted, but I think it means lasted. Several attempts were made to explain the pair of phenomena. None of the satisfaction or eyewitnesses or the legions of others who have studied the incidents. One editorial writer said they were angelic armies sent into battle on the side of the South. Another witness disagreed, claiming instead that the ghostly soldiers were Northern reinforcements sent down from a tear-stained heaven. Eventually, the bloody business of war diverted attention from the bizarre incident. For years, however, folks in the region continued to talk about the day the angels came to Virginia. It's pretty neat. The President from Beyond the Grave. On the night of May 27, 1955, President Harry S. Truman went on national television to reveal a shocking secret. While an estimated 50 million Americans looked on, the president told interviewer Edward R. Murrow that a ghost stalked the drafty corridors of the White House. It was no ordinary ghost either. "I think it's the ghost of Abraham Lincoln, walking around," the president said calmly into the camera. "Perhaps he's here to warn me about something." Ever since his arrival at the White House 8 years earlier, Truman said he had been bothered by a strange tapping noise on the other side of the presidential bedroom door. The sound, described as unusually sad and melancholy, usually came to him late at night or early in the morning. Most often, it happened around 3 a.m., while the rest of the White House slept. As the president told it, he'd be awakened by the knocking sound beyond the door. He'd crawl out of bed, fling open the doors, and peer down both sides of the hallway. The results would always be the same thing: nothing. There was no one there, he explained, so I'd go back to bed. In bed, he'd think about all the old legends about how the spirit of Lincoln, who was 55 when he was struck down by an assassin's bullet, prowled the dark halls of the White House, moving from room to room, a tormented look in his eyes and a plaid shawl draped around his craggy shoulders. According to old reports, Lincoln had seen his own death in a dream at least twice. He also had visions about other unworldly events, a gift supposedly handed down to him by his psychic mother. Night after night, disturbing and significant symbols and premonitions came to him in his sleep, and he found that he was greatly troubled by his conscience. Among the things Lincoln claimed to have seen was the knowledge of and the power to change the future. As a youth growing up in a backwoods log cabin near Hogden's Mill, in what was now Larue County, Kentucky, Lincoln felt it wiser to keep his psychic powers to himself. But just about everybody who knew him was aware of the ill-fated president's amazing ability to see into the future and predict events without knowing how. Edwin Stanton, a close friend and member of Lincoln's cabinet, once confided, "I have known that the president is not like other men, and that he believes that the future can be seen now and that the afterlife is for repentance. It would not surprise me if, when he dies, his spirit refused to leave the White House and that it remains there, restless and troubled, until it feels that the last of these sins has been paid for." Hello, Lauren. Far-fetched and fanciful though this seems, it began to make sense to Harry Truman, who, some 90 years later, as he pondered the mysterious spectral visitor outside the presidential bedroom door. The more he read about Lincoln's alleged psychic abilities and the series of ghostly visions the late president claimed to have had while in the White House, the more convinced Truman became that Lincoln's tormented spirit still haunted the White House. "It's possible," he said. "Anything's possible." That's what I think too. Anything's possible. Many other visitors to the White House claimed to have encounters with a ghost matching Lincoln's description, including Eleanor Roosevelt, who often sensed the dead president's presence, usually at night while she was writing. The Roosevelt's dog, Fala, would bark excitedly for no apparent reason. The first sighting was made in the 1920s by Grace Coolidge, wife of Calvin Coolidge. She reportedly saw the president's spirit standing by an Oval Office window looking across the Potomac. One of the most chilling encounters occurred late one night in the 1930s, while Queen Wilhelmina of Holland was sleeping in the White House stateroom. According to press reports, the Queen was awakened by a soft knocking at her bedroom door and went to investigate. When she opened the door, she found herself facing the ephemeral figure of a tall, bearded stranger, in black frock coat and stovepipe hat. The startled Queen had seen enough pictures of Abraham Lincoln to know it was the long-dead American president, whose ghost stood before her, and she fainted. Harry Truman thought Lincoln's ghost was trying to warn him about something. The fact that the hauntings occurred at the height of the Cold War suggested to him that the phantom president, who had fought so hard to preserve the Union and another time was concerned about deteriorating East-West relations and the nuclear threat to world peace. To the end of his days in 1972, Truman believed that whoever was president and whoever lived in the White House would also hear the discreet rapping on the bedroom door, and perhaps would someday have the opportunity to communicate directly with Lincoln's ghost. Except for the Reagans, no other administration has admitted to any encounters with the famous ghosts. And some people don't like to talk about it because then people think you're crazy. Man in Gray. Few sights are more chilling to residents along the South Carolina coast than an appearance by the so-called Gray Man, a silent, solemn specter said to materialize shortly before the arrival of a hurricane. Hundreds have reportedly seen the ghost, usually described as a somber little man dressed in an old-fashioned hat and long gray coat. Many witnesses swear the sightings came within days or even hours of a major storm. "He's real," said Matt Rogers, a Boston insurance executive who vacations at Pawleys Island near Charleston. "I've seen him several times with my own eyes. So have other members of my family." Rogers said he first saw the Gray Man in 1971, the first year he rented a beachfront house. "It was early one morning," Rogers said. "I was alone on the beach, watching the waves and birds. Suddenly, I looked behind me, and there he was. He was a little man, about 5 feet tall, standing about 30 yards up the beach. He was dressed in a quaint, old-fashioned suit, complete with long tails, hat, and tie. Then he vanished right before my eyes." The startled Bostonian never told anyone about the apparition. In fact, he forgot about it until the late 1980s, right before Hurricane Hugo struck. "My brother was down from Charlotte, and we were out walking the beach looking for shark's teeth," Rogers explained. "We happened to turn around and saw him at the same time, the same little gray man I had seen some 15 years earlier. Then he vanished again, just like he did before." It wasn't until after Hugo slammed into the Carolina coast a few weeks later that Rogers heard about the curse of the Gray Man. According to legend, those fortunate enough to see him are spared from the storm. Just how the legend got started is unclear, but some researchers think it originated in the early 1800s, when a young man sailing down from New England to meet his bride near Charleston drowned after his ship sank in a storm. The Gray Man is said to be the young man's ghost patrolling the shore to warn others about impending bad weather. Variations of the story say it is a gray woman, instead of a gray man, who haunts the lonely beaches, said to be the bride-to-be of the doomed young man. Her spirit roams the beaches in search of her dead lover. Like the Gray Man, she sometimes appears to warn mortals that a storm is rolling in. Other coastal regions have their own versions of the Gray Man story, but none has received the notoriety of South Carolina's famed specter. Sightings have been made from Myrtle Beach, south of Edisto Island and Hilton Head. The apparition is frequently spotted strolling the dunes at Fripp Island. The most memorable warnings came shortly before powerful storms hit the South Carolina coast in September 1822, October 93, and October 1954. In each case, several people reported seeing a strange little man dressed in gray clothes walking the stormy beach just hours before the storm struck. In 1954, an automobile dealer named Bill Collins had an encounter with the Gray Man near his beachfront home at Pawleys Island. I was looking down from my deck when I saw a strangely dressed little man looking right up at me, Collins said. I knew in my heart I was having a genuine out-of-this-world experience. A few days later, Hurricane Hazel blew in from the south, washing away shores and scores of beachfront houses. The Collins house was spared, indisputable proof he believes that the man in gray had come to warn him. The Cernsea haunting. Hauntings and other paranormal happenings were popular media events in the late 1800s, as evidenced by the phenomenal success and notoriety of mediums like the Fox sisters and other celebrated psychics and spirit advisors. I don't know. From different stories I've heard, I think the Fox sisters were fraudulent. None, however, received more international attention than the so-called Cernsea ghost. Spectacularly frightful specters seen and heard by tens of thousands of people, from newspaper reporters and clergymen to scientists and psychic mediums. The ghost brought considerable fame to the hamlet of Cernsea in deep South Georgia's Appling County. It caused suffering and pain to the town's founder, a middle-aged sawmill operator named Allen Powley, Cernsea. The hauntings began in the early 1870s. Shortly after, Cernsea decided to turn his rambling two-story home into a rest haven for travelers. Cernsea was little more than a village perched on the edge of a vast pine wilderness. Its main connection with the outside world was the Macon-Brunswick Railroad line, which ran through the heart of the hamlet. On October 23, 1872, the Savannah Morning News published a letter sent by Cernsea describing a series of strange happenings at his house. Please allow me a small place in your paper to publish a strange freak of nature, he wrote. On Thursday last, I returned from Hazelhurst to my residence, where I've lived for 20 years unmolested. On my arrival at home about 7 o'clock, I found my family and some of my neighbors, my brother and several others whom I consider men of truth, very much excited. A few minutes after my arrival, I saw the glass tumblers begin to slide off the slab and the crockery to fall upon the floor and break. The books began to tumble from their shelves to the floor, while brickbats, billets of wood, smoothing irons, biscuits, potatoes, tin pans, water buckets, pitchers, etc., began to fall in different parts of my house. Nearly all my crockery and glasses have been broken. Serency added, "There have been many other strange occurrences about my house. These facts can be established by 75 or 100 witnesses." Soon after, the letter ran, the first of what would become an army of journalists descended on the Serency home to see the ghosts for themselves. The media frenzy was on. Before long, reporters and curiosity seekers from as far away as Canada and England arrived. Visitors were rarely disappointed, as the ghost almost always made its presence known. Untouched dishes would fly off shelves. Doors would open and close on their own. Clocks would strike 13, and most amazing, hot bricks would fall onto the roof and in the yard. Until his death a few years ago, Herschel Tillman, a retired postal worker whose home was in Serency, used to talk about his many visits to the Serency house to see the ghosts. His first trip came when he was 8 years old. It was on a Sunday, right after church, he recalled in an interview shortly before his death. "My daddy drove us to the old Serency house in an old buggy. We went inside and saw and heard things not of this world." Tillman said he never got over all the things he saw and heard there. Unearthly screams, clocks that spun backwards, boots that clopped across the floor by themselves, hot bricks falling from the sky. "That place was possessed by something evil," said Tillman. "There's no two ways about it. There must have been at least a dozen ghosts inside the Serency house." After watching several ink bottles leap from a table and listening to disembodied voices inside a bedroom, a reporter from the Savannah Morning News wrote, "The whole house is clothed in darkness and bears the spirit of the supernatural." That same reporter said he watched the hands of a clock move around with exceeding rapid motion. It would pause and strike oddly, and this went on for 17 minutes. A reporter from the Atlanta Constitution said logs kept rolling out of the fireplace and that books mysteriously fell off shelves. The reporter fled the house when several hogs and chickens suddenly appeared in the living room from out of nowhere. I wonder where they came from. By the turn of the century, stories about the Serency haunting had appeared in newspapers as far away as Russia and Greece. Dozens of books were written about it, and hundreds of articles appeared in newspapers all over the world. The late Reverend Henry Tillman said his father often described how objects in the house would dance on the table at mealtimes. Bed covers would roll up and down at night, and glowing red eyes would hover over the railroad tracks directly in front of the house. Eager to rid their home of their unnatural guests, the Serency family sought the help of scientists, ministers, mediums, and psychics. But efforts to drive away the ghosts were unsuccessful. If anything, they seemed to make matters worse. Tradition has it that a murder was behind the Serency haunting. One story says a railroad worker was killed outside the home and that his spirit plagued the house and its occupants until the place went up in flames in 1925. Another version holds that Alan Serency was in league with the devil. Oh, bad boy. One witness recounted how Serency once demonstrated his arcane powers by running a stick completely through his hand without spilling a drop of blood. According to tradition, the ghosts continued to torment the Serency family long after the house burned, and they moved to another home on the other side of the county. That thing haunted old man Serency until the day he died, said one old-timer. But when he was buried, the haunting stopped. On that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our second music break. Let me know down in the chat room, do you want me to continue with this book? Or would you like me to move on to Reddit Ghost Stories? Savannah is a hotbed of activity. Oh, shnikes. So Trucido says, Savannah is a hotbed of activity. I had my reading done at the Blue Hotel in Casadega, Florida. Nice. But yeah, my brother used to live right outside of Savannah, just outside. And yeah, they were just saying how haunted it is, how much activity there is, and it's just a really supernatural place. It'd be interesting to live in a place like that, but that's too humid for me, Coach. Alright, so Truzido votes for continuation of story time. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. So we'll continue on. We have Miss Mia Savage, who is originally from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and sometimes resides here in Bayfield. She's my bestie, and she's getting her pilot's license right now, so I understand why she's still in Phoenix, even though it's been over 115 degrees every day since the 4th of July. I could not hang. So she's going to be singing to Your Grave, Not a Phase, Bury Me in Heaven, which is one of my favorites. And the bottom line, you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this music break.
guys try to tell us that there was, and let the demons run amok. But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride, and we can change it in round one. It's all we need, a choice. No record, no work, no job, no savings of money. Just a choice right now between fear and love. Right now, between fear and love.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining me this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and it's been awesome hanging out with you tonight. Hey, Brother Anthony, good to see you. So, by popular demand, instead of doing Reddit ghost stories, we're going to continue on with story time with our book, The World's 100 Greatest Mysteries. Strange Secrets of the Past Revealed. And it's been a very good book so far. I inherited from my grandpa Cookie this book and others when he passed away, and so that's what I've generally been sharing on Storytime. Alright, if you haven't caught the beginning of the show, make sure you go back and replay it because it was a pretty good show. I'm hanging in there, brother, trying to keep cool and keep my cool. The Grey Lady of Sherwood Forest. The old house sprawls in stately splendor beneath the outstretched arms of century-old oaks, a stone's throw away from the muddy banks of Virginia's historic James River. Known locally as Sherwood Forest, the house has been home to two presidents, William Henry Harrison and John Tyler. For 150 years, it has also been home to one of the Tidewater's most famous specters, the legendary Grey Lady. The present owners, descendants of President Tyler, are convinced something haunts their 44-room mansion. That's a lot of rooms. It's here, no question about it, said Payne Tyler, whose husband Harrison is a descendant of the 10th American president. Everyone who has ever lived here has heard it. Legend holds the ghost is the spirit of an elderly woman who cared for a sick baby in the plantation nursery. According to one version of the story, the baby died sometime before 1842. Some say she was named Grey, while others contend the spirit is known as the Grey Lady because of the color of the cloak seen about the apparition. She is said to walk over the creaking floorboards and hallways, rock in non-existent rocking chairs, and spends time in the corner of the master bedroom. Payne Tyler learned about the Grey Lady from reading old letters found inside the house when the family restored the plantation in the 1970s. It was during the restoration period that she experienced her first visit from the ghost. She disturbed me 2 times, Mrs. Tyler noted. I heard her in the next room, but I was not about to open the door. I told her very politely that we were going to stay here. She was going to stay here, so we might as well be friends. Then she left me alone. Oh, I'm sorry about your sister, Anthony. Cancer is not a good thing. Recently I heard that there's a new cure, but you know how that goes. I'm sorry, brother. I wish I could give you a hug. Sending you astral hugs and love. I'm very sorry. But she became a firm believer one night in the late 1980s as she slept in the house. Around midnight, she awoke to the sound of someone entering the locked bedroom. Someone walked across my room and piddled around in the corner, she said. You could hear them moving and shuffling things, and I thought it was a burglar. Then they walked over to the foot of the bed and stood there for quite a while, and then they went out. Mrs. Tyler added, I know all of this really sounds crazy. I would have never believed in a ghost or spirit until I came to live in a house with one. If you live in a house where there's a ghost in it, you believe in it. Borley Rectory. Borley Rectory, a gloomy, twin-gabled Victorian mansion atop a muddy hill overlooking the Stour River in England's Essex County, was once described as one of the ugliest houses in England. Oh, poo. Before it mysteriously burned to the ground 60 years ago. Precisely at the stroke of midnight, some said the red brick monstrosity, located 60 miles, almost said monastery, 60 miles northeast of London, was also one of the most haunted. For more than a century, the 135-year-old house was the scene of strange noises, phantom coaches that came and went at midnight, mysterious cold spots, and unending poltergeist activity. Locals said it was cursed as well as haunted and refused to go anywhere near the place, especially after dark. The most commonly reported apparition was that of a young nun strangled on the grounds more than 300 years ago. The nun was reportedly seen at all hours of the day and night, a gray, diaphanous form gliding along a dark path dubbed Nun's Walk. Other phenomena included heavy footsteps tramping stairways late at night, objects appearing and disappearing, bells ringing, and writing on walls. Organ music was often heard coming from nearby Borley Church, along with weird monastic chantings. In 1945, the Times of London called Borley Rectory the most haunted house in England. Built in the year of 1863 for the Reverend Henry Dawson Ellis Bull, that's a long name. The brooding old building was supposedly situated on the site of a medieval monastery. See, that's weird that I picked up monastery when it was supposed to be monstrosity. Ghostly encounters began almost as soon as the rector and his family moved in. We heard strange footsteps almost every night, the rector wrote in his diary. Bells rang constantly, voices whispered to us in the dark. One daughter was awakened by a slap in the face. Another saw the dark figure of an old man in a tall hat by her bed. One frequent visitor saw a nun several times. No one was harmed, but the experiences were unnerving. The vicar's son, Harry Bull, took over the rectory in 1892 and stayed until 1927. In that period, a headless man was seen in the bushes. A phantom coach appeared almost every night. A cook reported that a locked door was open every morning, and 4 of Reverend Bull's sisters together saw a young nun who disappeared in full view. Edwin Whitehouse, who later became Benedictine monk, visited the rectory with his aunt and uncle during 1931. On one occasion, a fire started in the baseboard of an unused room. As the flames were put out, a flint the size of a hen's egg fell to the floor. Later, while the vicar conducted a service of exorcism in his room, Edwin and his aunt were hit by falling stones. In 1937, Harry Price, flamboyant founder of Britain's National Laboratory of Psychical Research, advertised in the Times for people of leisure and intelligence, who were intrepid, critical, and unbiased, to join a group of observers who planned to spend the night in the house. From more than 200 people who applied, he chose 40. Elise Howe, an Oxford graduate who accepted Mr. Price's challenge, swore he saw objects move. Others reported unexplained noises. Commander A.B. Campbell of the BBC Brains Trust team was hit by a piece of soap in a sealed room. Dr. C.E.M. Joad, the philosopher, another member of the team, reported that a thermometer recorded a sudden and inexplicable drop of 10 degrees. Price's investigation was sharply criticized by the media, noting that the celebrated author and parapsychologist had a reputation for showmanship. After his death in 1948, allegations of fraud were made, but none were proved. Precisely at midnight on the night of February 27, 1939, Borley Rectory caught fire and burned. Some observers claimed they heard screams of anguish emanating from the flames, though no one was in the house. In 1943, 4 years after the rectory was destroyed, excavators digging a trench found fragments of a woman's skull and pendants bearing religious symbols. The woman's identity was never revealed, but some investigators suspect foul play. And they believe it was foul play that was involved and linked her ghost to some of the supernatural manifestations at Borley Rectory. Strange things continued to happen on the property, even as late as 1961, when torches, car headlights, and camera flashes all failed during an investigation of the site. In 1953 and again in 1954, newspapers reported sightings of ghosts in the vicinity of the rectory. Bricks taken from the Borley ruins and buried under a school playground at Wellingborough were connected with alleged appearance of a ghost. The burning of a Borley village chicken house was also linked to the rectory's haunted history. I wonder if they reused certain materials from the house to build this chicken house. I don't know. Symphonic spirits. Robert Schumann, the great German composer, was having a bad day. Twice in one morning he had tried to commit suicide, once with an open blade, the second time by throwing himself into the Rhine River near Bonn. The first attempt was thwarted by a nurse at the asylum where he was confined. "Why don't you let me die in peace?" he reportedly shrieked at a pair of fishermen who plucked him out of the river after his second attempt failed. He wanted to die, he said, to escape evil inner voices that had tormented him since childhood. In the beginning, the voices had been kind to the gifted young musician born in Saxony in 1810. He was only 12 when they came to him, whispering in a language not of this earth. As an adult, he called them spirits of the voice, but as a child, they were always giving him advice and warning him of impending danger. The voices helped him publish his first composition at the age of 12, a simple accompaniment to the 150th Psalm. It also helped him write and publish plays, poems, and translations of classical verse. At first, he was afraid of the strange murmuring. They came to him at night, when he sat alone at the piano, struggling to find the right note. He described them as soft sounds, gentle whisperings that ran fingers deep within his brain. Soon the voices seemed to take control of his music. They urged him to write more, play more, perform more. At the same time, they warned him never to ignore them, never forget that they were in total command of his spirit as well as his music. Kind of sounds like a family curse. I don't know. By the time he was 30, Schumann, the son of a working-class bookseller, was a famous, though not necessarily rich man. When friends like Chopin and Brahms inquired as to the origins of his music, the deeply sensitive composer and poet always claimed that the angels in my head provided themes and melodies. In 1840, Schumann married Clara Wheat. Or is it White? Beautiful young daughter of his piano teacher, who would go on to become a famous pianist in her own right. The artistic couple had stormy moments, yet managed to produce 8 children. The next few years were productive as the Schumanns traveled to Russia and Austria, where Schumann received critical acclaim for his first symphony in B-flat. During this busy period, he helped many talented friends, including Mendelssohn and Brahms, by giving them favorable reviews in a musical magazine he published. It was also during this time that he composed many of the solo songs, or Lieder, in which his reputation was built. Friends referred to that year, 1840, as the year of the song because Schumann wrote more than 100 songs. Again, the inspiration was attributed to his inner voices, the angels in his head that whispered to him sweet tunes and melodies at night. In 1844, Schumann suffered a nervous breakdown. He found that he could no longer focus on music. The voices were growing too loud, getting out of control, seemingly wanting to take over his life. Suddenly, the voices went away. He moved to Dresden, a thriving musical center, and began working furiously. The next year, still living in Dresden, Schumann penned his famous Symphony No. 2 in C major. He was overjoyed at the thunderous reception he received. Then the hallucinations reappeared, more painful than ever, and he sank into deep depression. In constant pain and fear of his sanity, the great artist was unable to work for months. To make matters worse, his old friend Brahms had moved into his house and, some say, began a torrid love affair with his wife. In 1852, he was complaining of strange afflictions of hearing, a repetition apparently of non-stop tonal sounds. As his mental condition worsened, Schumann sought solace in seances. In vain, he tried to communicate with the spirit world, to try to better understand his supernatural torment. In 1853, the Schumanns participated in a table rapping session, a phenomenon that was all the rage in Europe. According to notes left in his diary, Schumann was convinced that tables could move and rap out rhythms to songs. I said, "Dear table, play the opening theme to my C minor symphony," and it tapped it out. The tide of music began to drown him. No longer soft and gentle, the sounds in his brain became bitter, threatening. Then one day the sweet voices of angels returned, softly urging him back to work. Schumann told a friend that the music inside his head was fully formed and complete. The sound, he said, is like distant brasses underscored by the most magnificent harmonies. This must be how it is in another life, after we've cast off our mortal coil. One night, Schumann told his wife that the angels were calling out to him to enter the world. Then, without further warning, those same warm entities became terrifying demons that beckoned him to join them in hell. Hello, Catherine. In 1855, Schumann checked himself into an asylum at Bonn, a medieval village on the Rhine River. The next year, the day after a visit from his wife, her only visit to see him in the asylum, in fact, he choked on some food and finally passed over into the realm of angels. What a way to go. Ghost of Flight 401. Eastern Airlines Flight 401 is making its final approach to Miami International Airport on the night of December 19, 1972, when a panel light suddenly came on, indicating trouble with the landing gear. The pilot and flight engineer went to work trying to correct the problem. In their haste, they failed to notice the aircraft's steady descent over the Florida Everglades until it was too late. Seconds later, the L-1011 jumbo jet crashed, killing 100 passengers and crew members, including the pilot, Captain Bob Loft, and flight engineer Dan Repo. An official investigation concluded that equipment failure and pilot error caused the crash. The tragic story might have ended there, but had not the Eastern decided to salvage parts of the downed plane and install them on other company aircraft. Soon after parts were incorporated into Flight 318, strange things started to happen. A flight attendant making her way down the aisle of Flight 318 fainted when she saw the ghost of Captain Loft standing at the rear of the plane. Other attendants claimed to see the dead captain's reflection in windows and in the galley stove's glass door. One crewman said he saw the captain's ghost sitting in a passenger seat, staring out the window, while another said he heard the dead captain's voice over the public address system, warning passengers to put on their seatbelts. I knew it was the captain immediately, one frightened attendant said when she heard the ghostly voice. Later, she saw what appeared to be the dead captain standing in the aisle near the back of the plane. He turned around and looked at me and smiled, then vanished. Witnesses also reported experiencing abnormal cold sensations and an invisible presence aboard other L-011s that contained parts from Flight 401's wreckage. There were other manifestations of supernatural activity, including tools that suddenly appear in the hands of mechanics and power consoles that would suddenly flash on and off. Repo's uniformed ghost also appeared frequently, usually seen sitting in a plane's first-class section or crew compartment. He was also seen sitting in the cockpit as well. Flight officers said Repo always seemed calm and relaxed but very concerned about the safety and operation of the plane. Whenever the dead flight engineer's ghost appeared, it often made suggestions or gave warnings to crew members who only realized he was an apparition after he had vanished. On numerous occasions, the ghosts appeared in the cockpit, where they warned crew members about equipment problems and impending danger. But we will not let it happen, they reportedly told pilots. The sightings persisted for several months, then started tapering off after Eastern complained that they were hurting business. Management threatened to fire workers who continued talking about their ghostly experiences. Eyewitness reports continued, however, until Eastern finally removed the parts associated with Flight 401. In supernatural lore, ghosts frequently haunt airplanes, ships, trains, buses, carriages, and other vehicles of mass transit. But paranormal investigators say the haunting associated with Flight 401 was most unusual because of the large number of sightings and reluctance on the part of the specters to leave. Well, it's okay, Kathy or Catherine, that you missed the first part of the show. After we're done, you can always go back and catch it. It was pretty interesting. We did something a little different for the first hour, so I hope you enjoy it. Let me know. This next chapter is called Angels, Aliens, and Abductions. Flying Saucer Mania. Flying Saucer Mania was at its peak in the fall of 1953, when the Central Intelligence Agency convened a panel of top scientists, government officials, and military leaders to discuss what should be done to calm the public's nerves. For 6 years, starting with Kenneth Arnold's famous sighting of several disc-shaped objects skipping through the skies over Washington state, thousands of Americans had rushed forward to lay claim to similar sightings. Some even said they had been kidnapped and taken aboard a spacecraft where they had been subjected to painful medical experiments. While most people laughed at such reports, the CIA embarked on a mission to uncover the truth. After months of study, the Robertson Committee concluded UFOs were no threat to Earthlings, but that UFO reports were. In the words of one panelist, if an enemy attacked our country, the report might be ignored as just another UFO sighting until it was too late. In the interest of national security, the CIA sought to repress sightings of UFOs. It concocted a bewildering array of explanations and launched a public relations campaign to convince the world that UFOs were not real and to smear the reputations of those who said otherwise. The Robertson Committee was not the first attempt to stifle public interest in UFOs. Project Sign, launched in 1947, shortly after the Arnold sightings, was the first official government investigation. The 6-month study found that 20% of all UFO sightings could not be explained. Project Sign was replaced by Project Grudge. Investigators were given strict instructions to find logical explanations for each sighting. From this point on, writes Janet Ryhecki, in UFOs, the official government position was and has been that the idea of UFOs is ridiculous, and people who believe in them are either misled or crazy. In its first year, Project Grudge couldn't explain 23% of its cases. 6 years later, the investigation was upgraded and given a new name, Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book's purpose was to prove that UFOs were ordinary things that were misunderstood. Project leaders refused to release information about sightings unless they had been explained. Military personnel who spoke to the press could be fined up to $10,000 and sentenced up to 10 years in jail. The Condon study, launched in 1966, was another government attempt to quell public concern about UFOs. After investigating thousands of reports in a 2-year period, committee members were unable to account for 22% of the cases, but Project Blue Book was officially closed. After that, a number of citizen groups began investigating UFOs on their own. One of the most important was founded by Dr. J. Allen Hynek, an astronomer who had been a consultant to Project Blue Book. A skeptic initially, Dr. Hynek eventually became convinced that UFOs deserved further study and formed the Center for UFO Studies. Some serious private groups include APRO, the Aerial Phenomena Research Organization, and NECAP, the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, said the government knew more than it was telling the public. Even today, many investigators say the Air Force and other government agencies are deliberately withholding the truth about UFOs. Things have opened up a bit, quite recently. They're being seen everywhere. People have cell phones which have cameras on them, so many sightings have been documented. So grateful for that. Because we're not crazy and UFOs really do exist. Also, did you know that they turned UAP from being unidentified aerial phenomenon to unidentified anomalous phenomenon? They keep changing it, but pretty interesting, I must say. Circles of the Gods. When John Skull woke one morning and saw a series of strange circles carved in his 6-acre wheat field near Westbury, England, his first thought was that vandals had sneaked onto his property during the night and caused the damage. After extensive research yielded no footprints or other signs of trespassing, however, the perplexed farmer concluded that alien spaceships were somehow behind the mystery. So did a lot of other people. On October 15, 1980, a few days after the mysterious crop circles appeared on Skull's property, the Wiltshire Times reported that they had been made by some kind of energy field of unknown origin. Another paper, the Daily Express, suggested that the circles all within sight of the famous similar pictograms that had popped up in British fields in recent years. The presence of so many circles had spawned nationwide interest in the markings and led many in the media and scientific community to believe visitors from other worlds were indeed responsible. At the time, crop circle fever was sweeping the British Isles. New Age investigators, journalists, and scientists armed with recorders and infrared vision scopes descended in droves, marking, mapping, and measuring the circles. Many fully expected to find proof that visitors from outer space had paid a call and left behind these cryptic calling cards. The British press dubbed it the silly season. Although crop circle reports go back many centuries, the first known example in modern era appeared on a cane farm in Queensland, Australia, in January 1966. Tractor driver George Pedley was driving through a cane patch when he saw a large bluish-gray spaceship take off from a nearby swamp. On the ground where the strange craft had been parked, the astonished farmer found a curious 30-foot circle of dead reeds. The whole place was burned black and lay about flat in a huge circle, Pedley said. His weird story about the Australian circle brought hundreds of reporters and curiosity seekers to Queensland. Other witnesses stepped forward to say they too had seen spaceships and found enigmatic crop circles in their fields. It wasn't long before elaborately constructed pictograms started turning up in England. The first ones found in the mid-1970s were small and crudely rendered, but sometimes stretched hundreds of feet in diameter. By the early 1990s, immense geometrical figures, some the size of football fields, appeared from Cornwall to Kent. Phenomenon eventually spread to the United States, Canada, Bulgaria, Hungary, Japan, and the Netherlands. Each year brought new and increasingly dramatic and complex markings. Since most circles were showing up in southern England near Stonehenge, Avonbury, Silbury Hill, and other ancient sites associated with the mysticism, some investigators conjectured they were somehow connected to the supernatural. A few investigators who ventured close to the rings complained of giddiness and nausea, while others told of religious and mystical experiences. Today, crop circles have become one of the most famous and visually recognizable enigma of all time. The study of these baffling markings even has its own name, seriology. The variety of circles seems almost endless, from the simplest crude circles that appear to have been flattened out to complex geometric designs covering several acres. Sometimes the main circle is surrounded by a cascading series of smaller, though no less intricate formations. While some investigators claimed the circles had been produced by a natural phenomenon, whirlwinds, ball lightning, rutting hedgehogs, or elastic plasma fireballs, for example, many others insisted they were the work of UFOs. Several argued that the circles were mathematical and geometric attempts by aliens to communicate with Earthlings. Such designs have been found all over the world, in nearly every culture, ancient and modern. The earliest report of a crop circle came from a village of Assen in Holland in 1590. In the 17th century, an English scientist, Robert Plot, suggested that circular patterns in fields might be caused by rapidly descending blasts of air. Another said that they were the work of mowing devils. In their book Circular Evidence, authors Pat Delgado and Colin Andrews suggest that these circular pictograms were created by some higher cosmic intelligence and were recognized by primitive tribes as well as more modern people. The late astronomer Carl Sagan stopped short of embracing the authenticity of crop circles, but admitted that at least one of his colleagues believed that extremely sophisticated mathematics were hidden in the enigmatic figures. By the mid-1900s, it began to look as if whoever or whatever was creating the circles took pleasure in taunting investigators. When believers in the whirlwind theory pointed out that the swirling had so far been clockwise, wrote Colin Wilson, another author who has investigated the mystery, counterclockwise circle promptly appeared. When it was suggested that a hoaxer might be making the circles with the aid of a helicopter, crop circle was found directly beneath the power line. Then, in 1991, Doug Bauer and Dave Chorley of Southampton announced they had been fabricating crop circles for more than a decade. Other hoaxers also stepped forward to claim credit, including Fred Day, who announced he had been making them all his life. For every admitted prankster, however, a dozen other believers have stepped forward to insist the circles are real. Some predict it's only a matter of time before the true meaning of the crop circle is revealed. And I'm a lover of History Channel and documentaries and such, and I believe on one certain show, I can't recall exactly what show it was, not only did they prove that these were not man-made, but there was weird growth in these flattened out, like wheat or whatever crop it might be. There was like always a big crazy bulge where it bent over, and it just really looked different than those that were man-made. So that was pretty interesting. It was kind of pointing out the fact that there was radiation involved from these certain craft. Captain Mantle's last mission. It appears to be a metallic object, tremendous in size, directly ahead and slightly above. I am trying to close in for a better look. Moments after uttering those strange words on the afternoon of January 7th, 1948, Air National Guard pilot Captain Thomas Mantell aimed his P-51 Army fighter into the Kentucky sky and flew off into oblivion. What strange thing did Captain Mantell, an experienced combat pilot and decorated World War II hero, see that afternoon that led him to his doom? That question continues to haunt investigators, more than 50 years after the tragedy. The government claims Captain Mantell saw a new type of weather balloon. Others, however, insist he accidentally came upon a top-secret experimental aircraft and was killed because of his discovery. Not so, say a growing number of researchers who suspect Captain Mantell's airplane was shot down by a spacecraft from another world, and accuse the U.S. government of covering up the incident. Captain Mantell's story began shortly after he and 3 other airplanes under his command took off from Goodman Field, now Fort Knox, in Kentucky on a routine training exercise. A few minutes into the flight, the control tower informed him that an unidentified flying object was in the area and told him to check it out. About an hour later, Captain Mantell radioed that he had made contact with the rapidly moving object and was in pursuit. He described the object as strange-looking, resembling an ice cream cone topped with red. Unable to keep up with the swiftly flying object, and unequipped with oxygen, the other 3 P-51 pilots dropped out of the chase, leaving Captain Mantell alone. A few minutes later, he told the tower he was going to 20,000 feet, an extremely dangerous altitude. If I get no closer, I'll abandon the chase, he informed the tower. Those were his last words. Minutes later, witnesses reportedly saw his aircraft explode and crash. Captain Mantell, a veteran of the Normandy invasion and a holder of Distinguished Flying Cross, had now achieved the dubious distinction of becoming the world's first UFO martyr. Officials downplayed the report that Captain Mantell had been chasing a flying saucer when his plane went down. They said he probably blacked out from lack of oxygen and his plane simply ran out of fuel and plowed back down to Earth in a fiery spiral. Others aren't so sure. One retired Air Force officer who helped investigate the crash said that Captain Mantell, an experienced pilot all too aware of the dangers of anoxia, which is oxygen starvation, above 15,000 feet, was drawn into the clouds against his will. James F. Dussler, a former captain in the U.S. Army Air Corps, now living in England, was stationed at Goodman Field at the time of the crash. His primary duty was to investigate air crashes, though he sometimes worked in the control tower. When Captain Mantell's plane went down, he was called in to assist with the investigation. There were a number of things wrong with the official account of the crash, Dusler said in an interview with an international magazine. The damage pattern was not consistent with an aircraft of this type crashing onto the ground, he said. The official report said that Mantell had blacked out due to lack of oxygen. This may well have been the case, but the aircraft came down in a strange way. Although the government continues to deny it, Dusler said there had been other reports of glowing orange cigar-shaped objects in the area, the same day Captain Mantell's plane went down. One report put the second UFO over Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, while another described an object coming in from St. Louis. There were other mysteries as well. For example, Dusler accused the government of faking his signature on a document issued by the State Department shortly after the crash. He said he never signed the document and doesn't know why the government would fix his name on the report without his approval. Most incredible of all, Dusler said that when he arrived at the still-smoking wreckage, he found no trace of blood in the cockpit or anywhere else in the plane. Captain Mantell's body had already been taken away, but Dusler was informed by others at the scene that nowhere on the body had the skin been punctured or penetrated, yet all the bones had been crushed and pulverized. Coral E. Lorenzen, author of numerous books about UFOs, spends years investigating the Mantell case and says, "I am not prepared to dismiss this theory that Mantell died chasing a weather balloon, except to say that no balloon flight for that particular area had been discovered in military archives. As far as I'm concerned, the Mantell case should be listed as unknown until the object can be positively identified." More than 5 decades later, the official investigation of the crash remains top secret. If he was killed in a mere training accident, as the government alleges, why are the official transcripts between Captain Mantell and the control tower still classified? Makes you wonder. When's the government going to stop covering stuff up? When are we going to know the truth? That's what I want to know. I've seen UFOs. I have pictures of UFOs. I have videos of UFOs. Or UAPs, whatever you want to call them these days. What about you? Leave us a comment down below to let us know. So I hope you guys liked the show this evening. My apologies again for not having our guest here. Steven had to take care of his mom. Family comes first. So please, once more, put out some positive energy towards Steve and his mom for a quick and steady recovery. I'm hoping that she heals up quite nicely and in short form. Well, on that note, boys and girls, this is the end of our show. Thank you once more for joining me this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, KPNL Radio, eTalk Radio, Twitter, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever else you may be listening or watching this evening. I had a wonderful time, and I can't wait to do it again next weekend. We have the Paradox Paranormal Forum. We're going to have Travis Willier Moose Tooth. We're going to have Miss Mia Savage, Robert White, and hopefully Johnny Bonani. Don't forget, you guys, we are all in this together. Together, we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. Until next time, nighty night, love and light, or have a wonderful, beautiful, spectacular day. I will see you back here, same time, same crazy place. Please leave me, as I said before, any comments, good or bad, as far as how did the show go for you? Like, how did you like it? Should I switch it up? StreamYard is saying when you're doing videos, you should have another computer to stream the other video. So let me know how that worked out as well. Take care, my yous.